This is the 2024 Tennessee Cycling Championships in Strawberry Plains, which is outside of Knoxville. Have it there the last few years. They have the time trial, which you're seeing some of the ending. Of course, time trials, each person is on their own. So that was the first race. And then it's the road races. And of course, the road race, you can draft. So you get the help. I think I've heard or read where you save about somewhere into the 30% of your energy if you can get into a drafting situation behind a number of bikes. So you'll notice that a lot of bikes will ride right behind the others, and that's what saves a lot of energy. So this was they had both a 20K and a 40K road. They call them road races as opposed to the time trial. And of course, one of the biggest benefits is to try and stay in there drafting. Some of the awards afterwards, first, second, and third place in each of the categories, each of the age groups. So it's a good event. Okay, we're here at the 2024 Tennessee Cycling Championships with Pam. And Pam's got quite a story. You can tell it. I had a chance to talk to her before. Some of the world events you've done, how cycling, well, anything else, but cycling certainly has helped you maintain health and fitness. A little bit of some of your history.
Yeah, cycling is my preferred, I think, event right now. I love cycling, compete in it a lot. I do a lot of duathlon, particularly the longer duathlon stuff, half. I just raced the Ultra Duathlon National Championship in August in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And
didn't you win some?
Well, I did, but there's a story to that. So actually, I think I have the fastest time on the course of the last 10 years, which, well, there's certainly a lot of people that could show up and beat that, I'm sure. But the thing about it was that the day before when we did check-in, every girl that I was supposed to race either switched events or didn't show up. And so, I literally had to finish the race, and I was the national champion, right? And so, but every year at the beginning of my year, I pick a word, a quote, a theme, and a verse to help shape and grow and kind of define my year. And so at the beginning of this year, I picked my theme to be, you have to show up to win. So I didn't know how prophetic that would be, that literally for that race, I had to show up, and finish to win. And so, I just, like to train hard, and I've certainly had an opportunity to be around a lot of girls and guys out there that are aging and still getting after it and, working hard. And so it's, I think age is a number, and yeah, sometimes we have to kind of redefine our goals, but, obviously I'm not looking to run 6-minute miles anymore, for the long haul, like in my younger days, right? But, I think we kind of have to redefine our goals for ourselves and know that the competition is with ourselves primarily, and then you stack up where you stack up afterwards, right? So I always have times, my goal times. I have a best case scenario and a worst case scenario, and that's really what I'm competing against when I race.
Wow, that's great. I totally agree with you, and just that adjustment we have as we age to just still do the best we can and realize that we're not going to run those 6-minute miles.
Yeah.
or bike at 25 miles an hour for a long distance. Have you ever gotten through an injury or a problem, and having that high degree of fitness and health has helped you get through it?
Yes, actually in 2016 I was diagnosed with breast cancer. We were about 5 or 6 months into full-time RVing, and I'd gone in for my annual mammogram, and they had noticed some minor changes, wanted to reevaluate in about 6 months, and so I went back in for that, and then they said, well, you have breast cancer, but we think we caught it early. And so I didn't really know what that meant, in that interim period. And so I had about 2 weeks to have to process all that. And so, I was always a person of faith, but when you face something like that, it really, I think, it challenges you, and you realize, I think a lot of times, like, the building up of that faith comes to fruition. Sometimes you think, oh, why is this so important? Or I don't remember this verse or that. But, I found that it was there for me when I needed it. And so I think that's why it's so important to build that up.
Boy, that's so true.
Yeah. And so, I went and, the oncologist, still remember him spinning around on his little stool, and he says, well, you're stage 0. You can hardly say you have breast cancer, but you do, and you're going to have to do something about it. So I like to hit things head on, and so I was like, sign me up for a bilateral mastectomy, please, And so by doing that, because I was stage 0, they'd take a lymph node, and if it was clear, I didn't have anything else to have to do. So I was spared chemo and radiation and hormone therapy and all those awful things. And so, I never discount what I was spared through all of that, because I know it was still a big ordeal to go through it and have a bilateral mastectomy and then have to have reconstruction surgery, and it disrupted my life and and all those things. But I think through it all, I was trying to see how could I use it to help other people, and what's this leading me towards. And so it actually led me towards a lot of really great things in the process, because I ended up getting I guess a lot more into ultra type racing, from particularly cycling, but I'd always done races, sprints, Olympics. I'd done some half iron duathlons previously, and I was just I was always doing something. I'd race Spartan races or do bodybuilding, or I was always active. And so to be diagnosed with breast cancer, then to be told there was no genetic link, even though your grandmother had it at about the same age that you're diagnosed, and there was just no rhyme or reason for it. I said, you just realize that we're not in control, and that we like to do all these things. We think we can control this and this and this, and at the end of the day, we're not in control. And you just realize how quickly the rug can be yanked out from underneath you at any given moment. Like, we're all just one event away from a totally different life.
Isn't that is so profound? And what would you say to those people out there that say, my gosh, she's been through that and she's maintains this high level of training, and I don't know that I can do that? How would you encourage anybody on the couch watching your testimony? Well,
I'd say you just got to start. There's a Chinese proverb, I think it is. It says the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And so you just have to start. You have to set realistic goals, and maybe you can have this long-term goal, but you have to set some short-term goals in the process. And you have to be achieving little things along the way, and then maybe you can get to that really big thing that you hope to achieve, but you gain so much more in the process, so, it's as far as just mentally, spiritually, relationally, meeting other people, like, just met you here a little while ago, the opportunities you have to share, because we all have stories, and we all have experiences, and I think those are meant to be shared and to try to uplift others. And just, I just made a post the other day, actually, on my social media, and I said, we all have a story and we all have experiences, and just because my story might not touch someone doesn't mean it's not going to touch someone else. And like, everyone has that, like, you may be able to relate to people that I can't relate to.
Boy, that's so true. That's so true. And it sounds like your faith has helped you through a lot of life traumas. And tell us about your faith and how that works with you.
Faith is paramount. I became a Christian when I was, I guess, 11 years old, and I still remember I write poems, actually. I write faith-based poems, and they I always say I don't write them; they're just kind of given to me. I feel like, yeah. And but I remember my first poem I wrote. I was like 11 years old, right after I got saved, right? And I laid in bed all night because it was cold. My grandmother had stayed the night, the one that had breast cancer, right? And so, I was like, I woke up the next morning, I wrote it down, and
I'll have to have you send that to me so I can put it on the video.
Okay.
I like to put it on.
Well, you can do that. I have one that I think is much better. That's that's a faith thing now, but I'm happy to share. But yeah, so certainly I think I've certainly not always done things I should do, and we all
Who does?
yeah. So but I think it's a relationship, it's a walk, and
Thank God we have a gracious God.
yes.
All we have to do is
Yes.
repent and ask for forgiveness. And
Grace and mercy,
and
absolutely, yeah.
But the Lord Jesus Christ, told us that He's the way, the truth, and the life.
No one comes to the Father except through Him.
And there's no plan B.
Yeah.
And we just want people to know, we'd love for people to be healthy and have a better life, enhance their lifestyle because of health. But the eternity's awful. It's certainly more important than the amount of years we have here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think too, just a realization, that some people, I think, can look at this life and they get kind of down as they age, particularly because, the race here is getting closer to the finish line, right? And but I always say, like, none of us know, I mean, we not everyone gets to age,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it's truly a blessing, it's a gift, I think, to get to age.
You're right.
And my Uncle Lonnie, we joke, he's 86 years old, and I always call him for his birthday, and he told me, he said, well, he's like, I said, what advice would you give me, Uncle Lonnie? And he's like, hell, just don't get old. I was like, well, what am I supposed to do, like croak right now, And so we have a good laugh. But then, he's like, well, I'm getting older, Pam. I'm getting old. And I said, well, I guess if you live long enough, you're going to get old, right?
Exactly.
And so I think that's the goal, and the goal is to do it, to age well, so that we have, there's a lot of freedom in being able to be active.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And if I understand, we talked earlier, you guys full-time RV, so you're traveling around the country. You got a big,
Yeah.
that's a lifestyle that you have to have a degree of health and fitness and energy and adventure to do that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people will ask us, they say, what about community, And I said, we have community everywhere we go. And, they'll be like, what about, church? And I said, well, we're not, like, because we travel, we're not in a home church, like everybody goes to church on Sunday or whatever. But I said, the church is where we go, right?
Sure.
And so we are the church.
Exactly.
And you still got to feed that into you, and but we are the church, I think. So
Yes, my wife and I try and read through the Bible each year, just to go through and just to maintain that discipline of if we can't get to a church, we have our time together.
yeah, we do every morning, actually, my husband and I, and we have that time every morning together. And
There he is, man. And he's an incredible military man there.
I'm trying to get him to be my full-time Sherpa, just follow me around, let me ride my bike. That's the dream.
Yeah, that's great. With anything else you'd want to say to those people out there that are searching, they're confused, they're any suggestions?
I think try to find someone that that you can be a mentor, and I think looking for someone that is producing the fruit of the Spirit, and just and go to God in prayer. A lot of people say they don't know how to pray, but praying is just a conversation with Him, because He's available to us 24/7. Just like I'm talking with you. Doesn't have to be anything profound. It's just it's just a sharing of your heart. And I feel like He hears us, and so he answers, and He's faithful. And I have a verse that is John 16:33, came to me in a difficult time of my life. As these things I've spoken unto you, that in me you might have peace. In this world there will be trials, but take heart, for I have overcome the world. And
Amen.
We as Christians, if we've accepted that, we've overcome this world as well. And there's part two, from here. And so we should be looking forward to eternity.
Yes.
And yeah.
That is so good. I tell you, I just pray that people will listen to this and take your advice and get involved. Find a church, start reading the Bible, start praying, start asking for guidance, and that's your health and fitness is obviously very high, but we need that spiritual part of our life,
Yes.
because we're looking at eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's so good. I appreciate you taking the time to.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks so much. We want to thank you for watching RedefiningAging.us. I'm John Disterdick, your host. And our goal for the series is pretty simple. We just want to enhance the quality of people's lives. So if you know of an event that you think would be one for good for us to cover, please fill out the form on our website, and not only the event and what it is, where it is, when it is, and if there's a person that you think would be a good person for us to do a testimony on in some event, please let us know. And if you want a fuller description of my testimony, you can either go to johndisterdick.com and look under ministry, or you can go here at redefiningaging.us. We appreciate your viewership. God bless, and hope to see you on more shows.